Sean, manager tells us there's been a long conversation and lots of analysis of what went wrong and what should have been done better at the weekend. What's the overriding feeling in that changing room?
We sort of know that we need to come together and as a group. We sort of ironed a few issues that we felt we had out yesterday, and the biggest one is that in any walk of life, when you're struggling doing whatever you do, you've just got to work that little bit harder. And I think if we do that, it's a bit of a cliche, but if collectively we do that and we all try and give that little bit more, which I think we have been working hard, but I do think we can work a little bit harder. And if we do, I think the results will start to turn. During my time here, I think that's always been the case when you're building a bad run. You don't play attractive, nice football to get out of a bad run. You sort of dog a 1-0 out or a 0-0, and then you build from that. And as I said before, as quickly you can get on a bad run like we're on, you can get on a good run. But in order to get on that good run, you need to stop the rot, and it is a big rot. And the players know that we need to go to Lincoln, batten down the hatches if you like, and come out fighting and try and get a point on the board, or all three if we can.
Can these conversations be quite blunt in that changing room between players?
Yeah, they are. People get told in no uncertain terms if they're not doing things that they should be doing, myself included. And the staff can take a little bit of feedback from players and how they're feeling. E-Tech, and it's a collective. We're all in it together. There's no. There never has been as long as I've been here. No fractions. Everyone wants to pull together, and just that little bit of quality that we're lacking at the minute. As I say, you can overcome that with hard work, and if we go to Lincoln tomorrow, and if we can work hard, as I say, batten down the hatches and try and get a point on the board or all three, stop this terrible run of conceding 3 goals every game, then I'm sure we can kick on from there.
Is there any explaining the goals coming in the way that they are? Saturday, I think it was 9 minutes, 3 goals conceded. Is that psychological?
Yeah, I commented yesterday. I think it looks like players aren't trying, but I think once you concede a goal on the run that we're on, I think players' confidence, especially of a young team, can sort of dwindle away. That's any player, to be honest. Myself included. When you're on a run of bad results and you think you concede a goal, you feel like here we go again type of thing, and it's hard to come away from that. But you've got to have a stronger mentality of when you concede, once think, right, we're still in the game, we can go and score 2 or 3 and still win the game, or get a point and score 1. It's a crucial time. We could go 1-0 down tomorrow. We don't want to, but we could. And it's about reacting. I don't think we reacted rightly from going 1-0 down Saturday, and that's something that we've spoken about.
At this point, if you were to play well at Lincoln and lose again, would that be preferable to not playing well and somehow getting a result, or is the result all important at this stage? No,
I think results the biggest thing. I'd rather go to Lincoln and play terrible and get a point or a win than play brilliant and lose. We've had a few of them games where we play well and had pats on the back, but does it mean anything? Not really. You need points on the board. In my experience, you need wins, you need draws. You need points on the board. You need to get to 50 points, like we always have said, as quickly as possible, because it's a damning league, and if you're on a bad run, there's no other team that'll feel sorry for you. They'll want to keep your head underwater and keep you drowning, if you like. And it's up to us to stick our shoulders out, come out fighting, and really put in a performance tomorrow that warrants an Accrington team under the management that we have. Play for the badge and play for the supporters that have been, again, unbelievable. And if there's a shining light to come out of this bad run, again, it's them for me. They've stuck with us like they always do. They've been, unbelievable, travelling all around the country, and still behind the lads. Not one murmur of getting on the lads' backs. I think they realise that there is a few injuries. They realise that it is a tough league, and they're right behind us, which is full credit to them.
You got a result at Lincoln last year in response to a run of games and a particularly poor performance. Obviously, it's not going to have any bearing this year, but does that show what can happen?
Well, we can make it have a bearing. It can have a bearing. something I mentioned yesterday. You know, we were on a terrible run. I remember speaking to you after the Burton game, which was last season was the lowest point of the season, and then we went on a great run from there. We scrapped a 1-0 at Lincoln, didn't play great. No one probably remembers the game. It was freezing cold. I think Colby scored a scrappy goal, won 1-0. No one speaks about it, and then went on a run and ended up doing well. You know, we've got to mirror that this year. You know, Fleetwood's probably the lowest point of the season, I'd say, conceding 3 goals against a team that aren't great. So yeah, we need to mirror that from last year, take it into this year, and hopefully as a collective, players, staff, fans, everyone's there to get us over the line with stopping this rot that we're on.
And we talked about defending. You referenced Colby Bishop scoring at Lincoln last season. Would it alleviate a bit of the pressure if you could stick a few chances away, because you have been creating them? Yeah,
again, it goes hand in hand, you know, but you know, we should be able to maybe grind a 0-0 out and not score. But we want to score goals. We are creating chances. They will go in. But I think in order to stop a rot, you can't try and score 5 or 6. You just want a 0. You know, you've got to base your stopping of the rot as a defensive hardware clean sheet or conceding 1 at a push. Because if you concede 3 goals every game, you know the reality is you'll go down. You know, that needs to stop. And you know, we've been hampered by injuries, and I feel the defensive injuries have been the biggest hampering of the season. You know, we've had 4 players out, but I think you can live with 4 players being out. You know, the big ones for me, I said it a couple of weeks ago when we won 3 on the bounce. I said the biggest ones are, you know, Notts and Jay, 2 absolute animals at the back, who any centre forward in this league will hate playing against. Now the lads playing at the minute have got to get that physicality and you know, willingness to not concede as well, what they have when they play.
And you said it there, if you concede 3 in every game, you'll get relegated. Is that threat of relegation something that's in people's minds?
It's in my. I think it's in. You know, I think if you're an Accrington fan at this level, it's got to be in your mind going into every season. Because we punch above our weight massively, but we should be down there. You know, we should be in the bottom 4 now. We're still not in the bottom 4, but realistically, we should be relegated from this league. If you look at what we've got, money that we pay, players that we've got on the pitch compared to every other team, you know, there's probably 3 or 4 teams that I'd say will be on par with us to what they pay, and probably pay a little bit more than us. You know, people say you should be turning over Fleetwood, but they pay players a lot more than what we. It doesn't mean anything, but I'm saying to you, realistically, I go into every season fearing that if we don't work hard, we could go down. I'm sure the management do, and I'm sure that the most realistic of Accrington fans do as well. You know, because we're playing massive clubs every single week. You know, the clubs that you can that I watched when I was, you know, growing up in the Premier League. You know, Bolton's, Portsmouth's, Derby's, Premier League clubs, and little old Accrington are punching Sheffield Wednesday's punching above the weight, playing against them, and we thrive off it. We love it, and in order to keep them games coming this year and next year, we need to get it. We need to stop the rot and build on it.